Good day, students. With the 2.2 live stream hot off the press, I wanted to take a moment to quickly analyze the value and power level of the kits revealed for the upcoming 2.2 units. I will also give you some pointers in advance related to what relic sets will synergize best with them, which of the current light cones seem like a good fit, and the best potential teammates each one of them will have. So without further ado, let us jump right into it. First up on the stage is actually the first real Galaxy Ranger of the game, Boothill. And he certainly brought a lot of charisma with him. I mean, what's not to like about a cowboy space android who hunts down bounties across the galaxy? I genuinely wouldn't mind watching a TV show with this premise. But before I get sidetracked, let us start analyzing the kit that was revealed in the live stream. First of all, let's start with his skill, which, staying true to his cowboy nature, Boothill challenges an enemy to a proper Wild West duel. While Boothill is in the standoff with his rival, the enemy will be taunted and will take increased damage from Boothill. It is important to note that Boothill himself will also take more damage from the target enemy for the duration of the duel in order to truly have a fair fight. Apart from this, his basic attack will be enhanced during the fight, and once an enemy is defeated, Boothill will also get a stack of his talent, Pocket Trickshot. Moving on, his talent, which is related to the Pocket Trickshot mechanic mentioned previously, every stack of Pocket Trickshot will increase the enhanced basic attack's toughness reducing damage, stacking up to 3 stacks. This ability makes him a terrifying shield-breaking unit, as the amount of shield depletion seen in the live stream is a bit insane, especially if you add Ruin Mei to the mix. And considering the fact that the physical break is the hardest hitting break damage in the game, this has the potential to make him the hardest hitting unit in the game, especially when you also break the enemy. However, this also acts as a double-edged sword, as his damage might fall off a cliff when you are not breaking the enemy, similar to Jing Liu when she exits her enhanced state. Let us take a look at his ultimate, which again is perfectly in match with his cowboy theme, as Boothill collects the bounty poster from mid-air and snipes the target with his revolver from, I would assume, at least a mile away. Animation aside, the ultimate also has one key aspect to it. It will apply the physical weakness to the target before it deals a set amount of damage to it, also delaying its action. The weakness implant effectively means that you can bring him to any future encounter, and you can rest assured that he will perform. I believe that, just as Argenti was made with pure fiction in mind, Boothill will also become a staple of the new endgame content announced, Apocalyptic Shadow, thanks to this. This weakness implant is also added to his technique, as the first use of the skill in the battle will also add physical weakness to the enemy, just like the ultimate. And finally, his basic, or more appropriately his enhanced basic, will be the main source of his damage. As pointed out previously, it will only be available during the duration of his skill duration, and both its damage and toughness reduction potential are enhanced by his talent. As a summary of his kit, Boothill appears to be the hardest hitting hunt unit released so far, at least under the right conditions, and that is entirely in his base kit. I don't even want to know what he will do once you unlock his Eidolons or get his light cone. All in all, if you are lacking in the DPS department and also want to prepare for the new end game mode, I can pretty easily say this is the unit for you, but don't quote me if it turns out the new mode is another destruction unit sweep. With the kit out of the way, let's briefly go over his relics, light cones, and potential partners. For relics, as you want to stack on break effect in order to maximize his damage, and of course also try to maintain a good crit ratio, the Thief set will be the best option for him. Apart from this, the Champion set is also a good option, as is the trusty Musketeer set. The Musketeer also gets bonus points for its drip, as it is in theme with his cowboy persona. For Planar sets, Talia will again provide the most break effect, and is the preferred choice, but if you don't want to farm it, Rudolent and SSS are also fine choices. For light cones, obviously, his signature will be the best choice, but apart from that, you can also use the Herta light cone. Sally's light cone is also a decent alternative if you have it. For 4-star options, swordplay will be a good option as he has multiple hits with his basic attack, and you also want to kill one enemy at a time so the passive can be maintained permanently. Subscribe for more is also a good option for the extra basic attack damage. And only Silence Remains will also be a decent pick, especially if the new endgame mode has a lower enemy count for its passive to take effect. For teammates, there is one clear winner, Ruan Mei, for all the reasons mentioned previously. Other than her, any sustain unit will work, but interestingly enough, I believe Gallagher might be the best choice for him, as he can apply the Besotted effect, which will increase all enemies' break damage received, exactly what Boothill wants. Apart from him, both Fu Xuan and Aventurine are close contenders for the added crit rate or crit damage respectively. Huo Huo is also an interesting play if you want to cycle your ultimate faster. The second unit to take the stage is one of Schrodinger's current units, in that we still don't know if she is dead or not, Robin. Robin is the third limited harmony that is going to be released, and by the looks of it, if I had a nickel for every limited harmony that is absolutely busted, then funnily enough, I would have 3 nickels. This path really cannot take an L, especially in the 5-star variants. Jokes aside, let us start the kit analysis. As the basic attack is nothing worth mentioning, apart from the pretty animation, I will go straight to her skill. Her skill is pretty much Ruan Mei's skill, without the break effect buff Ruan Mei provides, but with the same mechanic. After using her skill, Robin will grant every ally a damage bonus for a set number of turns. The duration will decrease every time her turn begins, like I said, the same as Ruan Mei. Why fix something that isn't broken? Well, in this case, both of them are broken, but you get the point. Moving on to her talent, Robin seems to provide each ally with a crit damage buff, going by the buffs present on her allies during the showcase. And since it was not mentioned it was tied to her skill, I presume it will be tied to her talent. Also, apart from this, she will regenerate a small amount of energy after each attack made by your allies. So follow-up units are more desirable as they have more hits due to their follow-up attacks, so she will get her ultimate quicker. And speaking of her ultimate, we have to also address this one. Robin truly takes the stage this time and starts your own private concert, doubling down on her singer identity. I do mean a concert considering she will sing the enemies to death for the entire duration of her ultimate and probably your brain as well after you heard it for the 100th time. But hey, I for one really like the song choice. But I digress again. After she starts singing, she will action advance your entire team by 100%. Yes, you heard that right. I didn't stutter. And she will also deal additional damage with each attack made by their allies during her ultimate. And as if that wasn't enough already, she will be immune to crowd control during this duration. Her technique will provide her with a small amount of energy again at the start of each wave. Nothing fancy, but considering her ultimate goal is the bread and butter of her kit, it is a nice quality of life. To summarize her kit, she seems to be the go-to support for follow-up archetypes, and most likely an amazing support for both MOC and pure fiction, due to her universal buffs and her personal damage during her ultimate. Aside from the follow-up teams, she can be slotted easily within most other teams, as the damage bonus from her skill can be appreciated by DOT teams, while the critical damage, if she does have one on her talent, will work fine with the traditional hypercarry teams. The only archetype where she will not see much use is a team focused on debuffs, as, sadly, she provides nothing in this sense. But she does seem to have the biggest personal damage out of the Harmony units. Who knew an angelic singer would hit harder than a lady with a rifle or a roundhouse kick from a masked fool? For Relics, Musketeer will probably be her best set. Messenger is also a good alternative, considering the additional speed it provides. For planar sets, Fleet, SSS, or Keel will be interchangeable depending on the team composition, but SSS would be the preferred choice if you want to maximize her own damage during the ultimate. For light cones, as you want as much energy regen in order to keep the uptime on the ultimate, Bronya's signature will be a great option, but of course her signature will most likely be her best in slot. For 4-star options, Planetary will be decent when paired with a physical DPS. Past and Future, or the Battle Pass Light Cone, are also decent. The newly introduced 4-star Harmony Light Cone might also be a great option, depending on the effect. Like I have touched on previously, all the follow-up units will be preferred to be paired with her, but she can play nice with every unit released so far to some extent. And that's it. All the 2.2 units potential analyzed down to the nitty-gritty. Hopefully you have a clear idea of what they can do and where they should find their place in the meta. Of course, something can also change once the multipliers are revised, but my bet is that it will only support the points made here. So what are you going to do? On which of the limited units from 2.2 are you planning on rolling? Do you think Boothill will take the new spot as the hardest hitting single target unit? Do you also agree that the developers almost definitely have a thing for Harmony units? Let me know all of this in the comments, and everything else you are excited about regarding the new patch, or just life in general, you know? I will listen. Until next time, I am Professor Veritas Ratio, and remember, stay smart and sexy.